Technology is about to begin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this very, very special event. Most importantly, this is a day for the students to walk across our stage and become graduates of BCIT. But this is also a day for all of you, families, friends, who join us to celebrate these accomplishments. My name is Alan Waterman. I'm a faculty member in the Broadcast and Online Journalism program, and I'll be your Master of Ceremonies this afternoon. I would first like to acknowledge that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of the Squamish, the Musqueam, and the Tsleil-Waututh. I'd also like to acknowledge our interpreters joining me on stage today, Jillian and Rebecca. A little housekeeping before we start, though. We do have a professional photographer here with us today from Martona. 2 professional photos will be taken of each graduate immediately after they cross the stage. So image previews along with optional order information will be emailed and mailed to students within about a week. So we encourage you to take any professional photos of your graduate following the ceremony. It avoids all the flashes going off while we're trying to have fun and entertain you up here. The photographers will also be available for individual portraits and with family members after the ceremony. Follow the signs up the stairs to room 340. That's where you'll get more information on that for those photos. We're also doing a live stream video this afternoon of the ceremony, and it's right now at bcit.ca. So you can tweet your friends and families at home. This is how you get to it. This means there's no need to capture your own video of the ceremony. The link to the professional video will remain on our website for several months. You can view it again and again and download it to keep for yourself and all those family members who are far from home, far from here. We want to make this an enjoyable occasion for everyone. So once you've texted, tweeted, or talked, please ensure that your phone is turned to silent during the ceremony. Our processions are about to enter the auditorium. Our piper, Vern Kennedy, will lead our platform and faculty, followed by our soon-to-be graduates. I ask you now to please rise to greet our processions, and please remain standing until after the singing of the national anthem. Our processions begin with our faculty and our platform party. And now, family and friends, please welcome the class of 2019. It's such a big group, we ran out of music, so I think we should applaud them all while they still are walking in. Keep it going, they're not seated yet. That is one big group of grads, I'll tell you. Now, please remain standing, nobody's sitting yet, so that you can all join in the singing of the national anthem led by our own Stephanie Standerwick.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you, Stephanie. Would everyone now please be seated? I'd now like to ask our own Corey Wilson to come forward. Corey is the Executive Director of Indigenous Initiatives and Partnerships at BCIT. Corey.
Thank you, everyone. Gila Kasla, welcome to your graduation ceremony. A very exciting time, a very exciting day. Because I'm Kwakwaka'wakw and I'm not from this territory, the Coast Salish territory, I won't be doing a welcoming, but I will acknowledge that we are gathered here today on the Coast Salish territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people. And I think we're all very grateful to live, work, and play on their territory. For generations, Indigenous people have celebrated their culture and their heritage on the first day of summer, which is 2 days away, June 21st, which is also National Indigenous Peoples Day. It's the longest day of the year. It's a very sacred time of the year, and it's a time that we honor our ancestors. We're grateful for all that we've been given from the Creator, and it's also just simply a pure celebration. So June 21st, it's National Indigenous Peoples Day, where Métis, Inuit, and First Nations people will be celebrating. There's all kinds of activities across the country, all over Vancouver. I encourage you to, now that you're done studying, you'll have time to hopefully be free and enjoy Friday's activities, festivities. Look for what's in your neighborhood or in your community. This year is also a very exciting year at BCIT. It's our 25th year anniversary of Indigenous services at BCIT. BCIT leads the way in many areas. As you've realized, you made the choice to come to BCIT, but one of the ways we've led the way is 25 years of Indigenous services, which is very exciting and very amazing. As part of that, this year we also launched our Indigenous Vision, something that I'm very proud of, something that was a community effort with everybody at BCIT. Our vision is founded on truth. The foundation of our vision is truth. Indigenization are the actions that we will put forward, and our goal is reconciliation. With the creation of the vision, we formalized and we will continue our journey to create an environment in which Indigenous people and Indigenous knowledge are incorporated not only across the curriculum, across policies, across the activities that we do, but also in the classroom in support of increasing awareness amongst all of us, faculty, staff, and students, and the idea to continue to support and contribute to creating a greater, stronger British Columbia with the inclusion of Indigenous people. We also continue to act on our responsibility to foster Indigenous awareness amongst our faculty, staff, and students, and we will work together to honor the place and space of Indigenous people at BCIT in Vancouver, British Columbia, and abroad. Yes, we've done a lot, but there is a lot more work to do. Canada has a tragic history in terms of Indigenous people in this country. You've no doubt heard about residential schools, and the simple act of education in the case of residential schools was a false act. They said we were going there to be educated. We weren't educated. It's put us in the state that we're in today. However, education is the way to get out, is the way to change the future for us as Indigenous people. Today, your credentials mark yourself as a hard worker, a commitment. I remember it's 20 years ago that I graduated from law school. Doesn't seem that long ago, but I look back fondly, and it's easy. It's funny how you forget all of those late night studies, last minute, doing the papers at the last minute when the printer doesn't work and all of that type of stuff. But you worked hard. I hope you will continue to be lifelong learners. Recognize that knowledge is power, and the more you learn about everything under the sun, the stronger and the greater citizen you will be as well. So on your convocation today, I hope you take a moment to think about what you can do, not only for yourself, for your family, for your community, but what can you do to make Canada a more inclusive country that has reconciliation as a priority. Together we are stronger. If my children succeed, your children will succeed, and together we can do this. And so I hope you continue today, carry with you in your careers, in your workplaces, in the communities, and the places and spaces that you occupy around this city, country, world. Take the spirit of reconciliation that we are really fortunate and very much support at BCIT, and I hope that you continue with that spirit and make your part of the world better for all people and more inclusive and more, just be kind as well in that. So my hands go up to you. Congratulations on your graduation, and I hope, I said this at the last grad, but make sure your parents buy you some dinner tonight. So enjoy yourself. Take care.
Thank you, Corey. We're so honored to have you here and honored to hear your words. I'd now like to welcome the Indigenous Women's Ensemble, Ma Girl, who will be performing a traditional song of welcome and celebration.
We'd like to honor you today with a song that my late brother Frank Satie shared with us so that we could share it with you. It is an honor song, and he always talked about to be grateful for every day that we're alive and to be grateful for the possibilities that our lives can conjure in our focus and in our purpose in life. This is for you. Why highway I, highway I, highway I, ho. Why highway I, highway I, highway I, ho. Way Nanus kum to now kakio no wakumaganak. All my relations. Hi, hi.
Thank you, Ma Girl. Oh, those harmonies just go right through you. They're wonderful. I'd now like to introduce our platform party. Now, I'm going to ask them to stand when I call their names and to please remain standing. However, can you please hold your applause until everyone has been introduced? You got that? Okay. It's the last thing you'll hear from an instructor up here, okay? So, the president of our Alumni Association, Emil Bosniak. Jennifer Figner, Chair, Education Council and Associate Vice President, Implementation and Integration. Barry Hogan, Dean, Academic Planning and Quality Assurance. James Rout, Associate Vice President, Educational Support and Innovation. Tom Romer, Vice President, Academic. Ann Harvey, Board of Governors. Greg Malpas, our keynote speaker, who's the founder and CEO of Traction on Demand. Kathy Kinlock, our president. Lisa Collins, Vice President, Students. Dean Hildebrand, who is Dean, School of Computing and Academic Studies. And Lisa Chu, Dean, School of Health Sciences. Donna Mackay is our registrar. L.T. Lee is the Student Association rep. Aaron Hunter, Acting Associate Dean, Computing. Jennifer Tallman, Associate Dean, Forensic Science and Technology. Cheryl Isaac, Associate Dean, Bachelor of Science and Specialty Nursing. Eric Friesen, Acting Associate Dean, Laboratory and Applied Health Programs. Craig Larson, Associate Dean, Diagnostic and Advanced Practice. And Jeff Dick, Acting Associate Dean, School of Health Sciences. Now, let's welcome our platform party. If I can now call upon our president, Kathy Kinlock, for her opening remarks.
Well, welcome everyone. I'm so excited to be with you at this convocation ceremony today. It's great to see such a full room, and particularly the families who are here and the loved ones to support you. Thank you for attending. At BCIT, we have a vision to empower people, shape BC, and inspire global progress. We pride ourselves in preparing students, including those graduating today, for careers in a complex and changing world. So graduates, you've earned an impressive credential, and we can't wait to recognize your achievements up here on stage. But first, let's acknowledge some very impressive people in the room. Thank you first to all the family and friends of our graduates. You have supported our graduates in countless ways. It's largely because of you that they are here together, and they are successful today. Thank you also to our faculty who are so inspiring. You've worked so hard to get the students here, I know, and I'm proud of how you are with them and how special this day is for you. And graduates, I'd ask you to stand and thank the people in this room and give them a big shout out and thank them. Can you stand and do that? You're probably still trying to find where they're sitting, but I'm sure they saw your hand go up. So thank you. You can sit down. So graduates, I turn now to you. Thank you. Thank you for putting your faith in us. Thank you for supporting one another and for your perseverance. BCIT is not that easy. It's not an easy road. We demand a lot, yet we promise a lot too. We promise graduates who achieve excellence in their fields, yet are humble in character. Workers who are collaborative in spirit and inclusive in their approach. Citizens who strive for personal success and for global progress. Innovative thinkers who will solve some of the greatest issues of our time. With this group here today, I think we've delivered on that ambitious promise. Graduates, this is a day of celebration, obviously, a moment to reflect proudly on your accomplishments and those of your fellow graduates. I wish I had time to say a few words about each of you, but I know you want to get on and celebrate. So don't worry, I won't. But even though this is the second longest day of the year soon, I won't do that. Instead, I'll just mention a couple of exceptional students. And it's more so to give your family and friends a sense of BCIT. First, I'd like to give a shout out to Bavea Shaw. Bavea, could you stand, please? For the family and friends, they have no idea that they're going to stand, and if you could keep standing, because we just want to embarrass you a little bit more. So, Bavea was an active volunteer during his time here, serving as a set rep for 2 years and volunteering at Big Information, which is a huge evening in which we show our programs. You were also part of a team working with our Make Plus research group to create an application that helps create an affordable and quality prosthetics through 3D scanning. His team was invited to present their work to the BC Tech Summit, where I understand you had an opportunity to scan the Premier's head. Congratulations, Bavea. I'd also like to recognize Carolina Coletta. Carolina, are you here? Oh, good, great, thank you. Carolina is known for her professionalism and consistent high marks. Carolina represented her class at BC College of Nursing Professional meetings and was a peer mentor for the BCIT Skills Lab and a volunteer at BCIT Big Info. She received the Elizabeth Mackey Memorial Award given to a student who epitomizes caring in their nursing practice, something that clearly defines you. Congratulations, Carolina. Excellence, collaboration, innovation. These are important BCIT values. Values demonstrated at one time or another by all of the graduates I see before me. I'd like to introduce one more special graduate now. Dea Yap, please stand up. So Dea is the last student to cross our stage today. And I don't know if you've ever been last in something, but I think that I would ask that our students give Dea a huge round of raucous, loud noise when he comes across the stage. So can you do that? That would be great. So thank you for being a good sport, and because I've shouted out for you, you have a free dinner on behalf of BCIT, and it's not at the pub. Thank you, thank you. Each year, we present a Teaching Excellence Award to an instructor from one of our schools who exemplifies teaching excellence in their field. The nominations come from students, and 2 of our 2019 Teaching Excellence Award recipients are represented by the schools today. And while neither of these recipients were able to join us, I'd like to acknowledge their achievements. First of all, from the School of Health Sciences, Nikolai Kondratyev. Nikolai is a faculty member in our nursing program and very well liked by the students and an effective faculty member. And from our School of Computing and Academic Studies, Cheryl Beatty. Cheryl is a faculty member in Basic Health Sciences program. Let's give them both a round of applause. So graduates, the adventure is just beginning. The road does not end here, and neither should your education, whether it be back at BCIT, through additional education elsewhere, or in your new roles in industry. Keep learning, read, travel, talk to strangers, stay curious. Today marks the end of your current program, but not your end of your relationship with BCIT. We have a large and impressive alumni body, over 185,000 alumni. Please stay in touch. You have my sincere congratulations to all of you. And thank you so much for choosing BCIT. We hope we met the mark for you. Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you, Kathy. I'd now like to call upon Ann Harvey, who will bring greetings on behalf of the board and introduce our keynote speaker.
Good afternoon. I'm delighted to be here today to congratulate our graduates and to commend our faculty and staff on behalf of the BCIT Board of Governors. To all the students in the audience today, well done. You did a great job. When you made the choice to come to BCIT, you changed the course of your future. The time and hard work you have invested here will open many doors. Employers know that when they hire a BCIT grad, they're getting someone who can hit the ground running. Our grads are known for their drive, their talent, and their ingenuity. Whichever path you embark on, you will make a difference. You're surrounded by family and friends who are incredibly proud of all that you've accomplished, and you've also earned the confidence of your instructors. They know just what it took to get here today. Each of you deserves to be enormously proud. Your time at BCIT has come to an end, but your achievements won't stop here. We challenge you to build on everything you've learned and accomplished during your time at BCIT. Commit yourself to making an impact within your future workplace and within your community. On behalf of the BCIT Board of Governors, our warmest congratulations to you on all your academic and personal achievements. This afternoon, I also have the pleasure of introducing Greg Malpak, founder and CEO of Traction on Demand. Founding Traction in 2006, Greg's unconventional leadership style and expertise in cloud computing quickly led Traction on Demand to grow into a nationally recognized brand. Traction is considered one of North America's fastest growing technology companies. Named to Business in Vancouver's Top 40 Under 40, Greg strives to lead by example and sets the new standard for a positive and purposeful company. Please join me in welcoming Greg Malpak.
Well, here we are. Where should we begin? As mentioned earlier, everyone is here because someone supported them. So I do want to just take a quick moment of pause to show some appreciation to the parents, the friends, the extended community that all helped you graduates to achieve all the incredible things that you already have so far. Next, I want to, of course, acknowledge the graduates. You embarked on a journey, one that you had some level of hopeful certainty you'd achieve, which would be to be here. So congratulations. Having had numerous friends, numerous colleagues, all endure the BCIT experience, I can say secondhand that it is a formidable achievement for you to be here. Many of you carried jobs as you did this. I can only imagine the sleepless nights along the way to get here. For me, I actually never attended my convocation, and I think it was a very poor decision for me because I had nightmares years after thinking I'd forgotten a class or missed an exam. So this is a very important step in your journey. So it's very exciting for me to be here, but what's interesting is, depending on the type of setting I'm at, I usually will present kind of a different perspective. In some cases, I'll kind of present myself as a small town kid that grew up in Nelson, BC, and never really had high aspirations, although I knew I wanted to live a good quality life, but I could never imagine myself not being in my hometown. I also enjoy introducing myself as a son of two parents who never applied their limits, their own self-imposed limits upon me. So when I came with wild, audacious hopes, they would encourage them and ask me how it would feel when I was to achieve these things. They were simpler back then. I'm also identified with myself as a hardworking and eager student. And I think that's a persona that I embrace every day. Because just as mentioned earlier, life is just about continuous learning, changing, adapting, and forming yourselves. And the moment you stop doing that is the moment life gets very boring and static and unnecessarily painful. I'm also a husband, a father, and of course, identified often as a founder of a business that employs a little over 600 people, adding another 450 in this coming year. So, business cards, kids. But today, I'm here with a really interesting and new identity. It's a very humbling one for me because I'm here to apply for a job. And the truth is, the job that's been put in front of me it's big. It is an awkwardly large and a tremendous amount of responsibility because I'm supposed to be here to be part of a milestone that is a big life meaningful milestone for you. And my goal, I'm supposed to leave you with more questions than answers. So how do you do that? I'm supposed to also entertain you. And I don't know how I'm going to do that. But like any good candidate, I did some research. So I went online and I took a look and I watched a few other convocation speeches. But I noticed something. There was something profoundly different between me and a number of the convocation speeches that I saw. And the truth is, they were all about 15 years older than me, and they had this thing I don't have, which is wisdom. So it made me think, how can I own up to this opportunity? How can I make sure that I play to win and I don't play to lose? How can I not emulate what's been done before? And also apply a little bit of who I am and what I believe to this conversation. And so it made me think of why, and I thought it was, well, in all honesty, I think we can probably all relate to one another. So let me give you a little bit of a story in terms of what brought me to here, because I think that in the story lays a lot of learning and experiences that I'm still living with today. I always wanted to be a physician. I wanted to be a sports medicine physician. And I went to school, and I almost failed out. I was not enjoying what I was doing, and I was hitchhiking one day, and I got picked up by somebody, and they asked me a really great question. If you want to be a sports medicine physician, have you thought through whether or not you want to run it or work in it? I said, I obviously want to run it. They said, well, then you shouldn't be in sciences. You should go to business. And that led to a life, the next 4 years of my life, basically having to negotiate my way into every class in business because I wasn't in the faculty. It's a great story. But over that journey, once I graduated from university, I went on and I was fortunate to work for a number of entrepreneurs. And working for an entrepreneur was a really interesting experience because there was just this visceral truth to what they were going through. They were people that were clearly in over their heads, but were always inviting it. And at first, it terrified me. Shortly thereafter, though, I realized that we're all in the same life together. It was actually leaning in and embracing kind of these challenges and supporting them as much as I could was an incredible journey for me to learn. I took with me a number of lessons. And so I just want to share a few paradigms, things that I've taken along the way that have really formed a lot of not my identity, as well as a lot of the more altruistic forming things that have helped me make decisions in every factor of my life. I'll start with this notion of there is no, it's just business. You are in a world where you deserve to know why people behave certain ways and why businesses are making decisions. In fact, businesses should be making great decisions for people. And so I urge you to make sure as you grow through your careers that you continue to affiliate yourselves with people who have aligned values to those of yourselves. The next thing is this consideration of you can do good and make money, but you can't do good to make money. And there's a very slight nuance to those words, but a very profound and meaningful difference. A good example of this is actually we recently launched an office in my hometown. And the reason we launched that office was to bring great jobs to kids like me that may have not have left Nelson, but of course wanted to explore the opportunities within technology. It was just the right thing to do. Doing that, we've had over 100 people apply for a job. We've employed 6 so far, and we expect there to be nearly 40 jobs in that small town community in the next year. And that is something that's going to be profoundly important and great for that community as we see this transition from industrial to technology and the knowledge sector. But it's also an opportunity, it's a great opportunity for traction at large. Another thing I'd narrow in on you, and one thing I didn't realize when I was graduating, was how important core principles and values were. And I don't know how many of you have taken the time to really understand what it is that makes you tick, what gets you up in the morning, and what it is that you love. But the more time and energy that you can put into that, the more you'll understand what you do love, and the more likely you are to have an incredibly successful life. And so the notion, and the one thing I'd encourage you to actually take a little bit of time to think about, and continue to monitor it, because it will change, is this crossroads of finding what you love so you can give it all of yourself. Find out what you're good at. Ask your friends, ask your instructors, ask your colleagues, so you're likely to succeed in what you do. Ask yourself also what you believe to be what's good for the world. Because while we all know there's many things, including the environment, social considerations, of course, peer-to-peer health, things that are so important to our world, certain things will be more important to you, and that's okay. And understanding that will help you understand how you can make sure you have a social consideration in what you do. And lastly, of course, paying attention to what you can get paid for. And the reason I put those 4 things together is if you can glue those 4 circles together, I can guarantee you'll live a happy, fulfilling, meaningful, and dramatically wonderful life. I have so much more I could share with you. I feel like I would bore you, though, if I went on and on and on, so I'll leave you with this. Please take risk. Just because your degree is in one certain element or area, don't think that defines you. And I encourage you to take all the time in the world to continue to understand yourselves as you grow, evolve, and continue to pursue this amazing thing we call life. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Much appreciated. I'd now like to call on Kathy Kinlock and Peter Enns to come forward for the presentation of the Governor General's Academic Medal.
So, okay. Oh, there he is. He's coming. Looking at the back. Great. So I'll get you to hold this and I'll talk about you. How's that? Thank you. Okay, so Peter, this is really an honor to do this, and the Governor General, just for all of you, I want to just give a bit of background. The Governor General's Academic Medal is presented annually at graduation to a student who achieves the highest academic standing in a diploma post-secondary program. And obviously, Peter Enns is our recipient this year, graduating from Biomedical Engineering Technology program with a weighted average, get this, of 96%. Just an incredible a credible academic achievement. Peter's instructors describe him as outstanding. In addition to maintaining that high academic standing, Peter developed a medical device, now listen to this one again, to allow those with a speech impairment the ability to interact with the smart speaker technology. This project won the Award of Distinction at the Medical Device Development Center Awards for Excellence in Biomedical Engineering, Student Design, and Innovation. Wow. Don't you think that deserves a round of applause? Peter, we're so pleased and honored to have you as one of what will now be an alumni member, so congratulations.
We'll just wait for the pictures to be taken. I don't know about you, but I feel like an awful underachiever after hearing that. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Peter. Now we come to that exciting moment when our graduates are about to cross the stage. Here's the process we'll be following. The students will leave the auditorium, as you see right now, and return through the side door on my left. They hand me their credential. I will read their name. Please whisper your name to me so that I have a rough idea of what I'm reading. I'm a broadcaster, but I'm not a great linguist. And then afterwards, I will return your credential. Remember to get your credential afterwards. A lot of people rush on by and go, we're trying to throw the piece of paper their way. So remember to get your credentials afterwards. Then our graduates will shake a few hands as they cross the stage. They'll shake the hands of Kathy Kinlock, Greg Malpas, Ann Harvey, Tom Romer, Lisa Collins, the dean of their school, and our Alumni Association rep who will gift them with their BCIT pin. So if you see something coming your way in the hand, don't squeeze too hard, it might hurt. You may also see a few faculty members coming forward to join the line and shake the hands of the students they've instructed and supported over their time here. The special connection between our students and our faculty is an important part of BCIT, the experience here. Graduates will then exit the theater via my stage right and over to that curtain and be directed to a special area where our professional photographers will be waiting to take a photo of them with their credential. Graduates will then be directed back to their seats. As Kathy mentioned earlier, we want to be sure that all our graduates, from the first to cross the stage to our final graduate, are equally and respectfully acknowledged as they receive their credential. So we ask graduates to please return to your seat and, along with all of our guests, continue to be present and recognize your fellow graduates in their important moment. If we can please ask the platform party to take their places. Okay, here we go. And as our students return from the backstage, remember we'll be taking photos later, so we'll go through that process again. Here we go. First up. From the Bachelor of Technology Computer Systems, the School of Computing Academic Studies, Dean Hildebrand is the Dean. John George Agapeyev, with distinction. Benedict Shun-Hin Lo, with distinction. And that means they have achieved 80% or higher. Isaac Andrew Marcel Marneau, with distinction. Sonali Paul, with distinction. Anguran Raghunathan, with distinction. Carson Allen Roscoe, with distinction. Travis Allen Wesley Ryder, with distinction. Jagger Daniel Sarar with distinction. Don't forget your paper. Anthony Smith with distinction. Hugh Tran with distinction. Sorry. Moving on to the Diploma Computer Information Technology, Ethan Baltzer with distinction from the Cooperative Education Program. Sang-Hoon Young. Jun Young Kim. Lance Magnay. Vivian Nguyen. Jaster Pabuaya. Bhavya Shah. Peter Tang. Lyndon Spencer Ho Ming Wong. Rory Cameron Wu. Moving along to the computer systems client server option. Sami Paul Baines with distinction. Yusin Chow with distinction. Joy Gomi with distinction. Sidrat Jahan, don't forget. Sonic Kyung. Duhong Kim. Hannah Lee. Yusho Lu. Chris Trong. Raleigh Yu Feng Tang with distinction. Turner Vink with distinction. With the Diploma Computer Systems, Data Communications, and Internet Working option, we have Victor Emil Lorenzo Alvar with distinction. Keishi Asai with distinction. Kian Castillo with distinction. Yiming Chen. Yuting Su. Fat Lee with distinction. Jackie Lee with distinction. Ian Y. Lowe with distinction. Cameron Emerson Roberts with distinction. Daniel Shin with distinction. Reese William Snaden with distinction. Alexander Kai-Ying Song. Don't forget. Can't be in too much of a hurry, eh? Darius Strigoon with distinction. Evan Chong with distinction. Benzo Zhang with distinction. Now moving along to the Diploma in Computer Systems database option. Chao Chung Yang. And Computer Systems digital processing option, Kevin Lowe. Bao Wang Vi Fan. Paul Alexander Seffer with distinction. Griffin John Tench with distinction. Dong Gu Yang. Ian Joseph Younghusband with distinction. Now we're moving along to the Diploma Computer Systems Information Systems option, Pu Yi Ao with distinction. Edmund Ham with distinction. Gyotran Han. Min Hang with distinction. Ju Hyang with distinction. Karanveer Singh Khanna with distinction. Cameron Lay with distinction. Yoon Hak Lee. Ryan Liang with distinction. Narajan Manandar with distinction. Gregory Terrence Mercer with distinction. Garth James Nelson with distinction. Tony Andres Pacheco with distinction. Noah William Seltzer with distinction. Now the Diploma in Computer Systems Tech Entrepreneur option, Antonio Cao-Chen with distinction. Vincent Lam with distinction. Carlo Michael Mendoza with distinction. Justin Pancho. Remy Chuang with distinction. Aaron Vaughn. Moving along to Diploma Computer Systems, Web and Mobile option, Haruna Kokinoki. Vinlay. And in the Certificate Applied Data Analytics, Jessica Vasconcelos, with distinction. And Certificate Computer Systems, turn around and show yourself to the audience. There we go. Cynthia Ferrari Schutte Assis, with distinction. Kayal Cares, with distinction. Lavjot Singh. And in the Certificate Network Administration and Security Professional, Ali Altajer, with distinction. Ehsan Hossein Zada, with distinction. Andrew Ihorewa. I hope I got that right for you, almost. Congratulations. Certificate in Office Administrator with Technology, Ankita Sen. Certificate in Software System Developer Web Programmer, Rajiv Kumar Dutt, with distinction. Really? Okay. Felix Estelbio Galzido Jr., correct? Okay. John Joseph Miranda, with distinction. Divyan Sharma. Adines Sanish Kumar, with distinction. Michelle Gretchen Sauter. Moving into the Bachelor of Technology, Forensic Investigation, Computer Crime option. Okay, these guys are the ones who've been made famous by all those TV shows, right? This is the CSI bunch. Starting off with Maninder Singh Pabla. With a Bachelor of Technology, Forensic Science, Crime and Intelligence Analysis option, Natalia Horagliano, with distinction. Margaret Elizabeth McKinnon Kirkpatrick. In the Bachelor of Technology, Forensic Investigation, Forensic Science option, Toby Chung, with distinction. Jennifer Leanne Johnson, with distinction. David Herbert Stengert. And the envelope says, School of Health Sciences, now we're moving on to, with Lisa Chu is the Dean. Starting off with the Bachelor of Science in Nursing, this is the nursing cohort, starting with Diane Bakke, with distinction. Maribel Benayan with distinction. Anudari Batsak with distinction. Greg Baguki with distinction. Justin Glenn Bragg. Michelle Bravo with distinction. Bravo, Michelle. Brittany Nicole Kaleo with distinction. Carolina Chalata with distinction. Sarah Chow with distinction. Samantha Chan with distinction. Camille Shanwan with distinction. Kala Chung with distinction. Joycelyn Chung with distinction. Elena Dawn Chilson with distinction. Carissa Marie Cheng with distinction. Clement Churi with distinction. Elizabeth Chung with distinction. Erin Melissa Cox with distinction. Kaylee Deck with distinction. Colleen Evelyn Dushman with distinction. Rachelle Davina with distinction. Rachel Dwyer with distinction. Karis Evans with distinction. Martina Famoso with distinction. Tanver Kaur Gill with distinction. Katrina Gok with distinction. Danica Gurin with distinction. Celeste Hashash with distinction. Catherine Hansen with distinction. Elizabeth Christie Hamlin with distinction. Angela Hennig with distinction. Priscilla Huen with distinction. Amber Johnson with distinction. Alana Jones with distinction. Andrea Johnsdaughter with distinction. Good Icelandic name. Katrina Khan, with distinction. Danielle Christensen, with distinction. Yvonne Coe, with distinction. All these high-achieving students. Christy Kwan, again, with distinction. Peggy Lai, with distinction. Ashley Lamin Lau, with distinction. Fian Lee, with distinction. Matthew James Pacleb Leonardo, with distinction. Alvina Leung, with distinction. Mark Kevin Legsay, with distinction. Allison Lim, with distinction. Fiona Ma, with distinction. Eve Mae Marshall, with distinction. Stacy Elaine Mitchell, with distinction. Amita Morker, with distinction. Cherika Rebilo Anate, with distinction. Stephanie Ong, with distinction. Annabelle Paz, with distinction. Marnell Presto, with distinction. Aren't you glad all these nurses are graduating at the top of their class? Shara Q, with distinction. Kevin Ram, with distinction. Ki Annie Ren, with distinction. Sage Victoria Ronaldo, with distinction. Josephine Robertson, with distinction. Caitlin Ross, with distinction. Kayla Dawn Rotaru, with distinction. Mandy Selick, with distinction. Stasha Marie Saletti. Jeshamine Sharaf. Micaela Suarez, with distinction. Jent Shrava, with distinction. Loretta Tang, with distinction. Alexander Kim Lim Chung with distinction. Christopher Tong with distinction. Esther Tran with distinction. Vanessa Tran with distinction. Megan Alexandra Van Beneveld with distinction. Matthew James Walden with distinction. Catherine Wilson with distinction. Kitty Young with distinction. Jamie Yu with distinction. Now moving into the Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Specialty Nursing, Critical Care Nursing Specialty. Marie Nelly Demilianta with distinction. Now moving into the Perioperative Nursing Specialty, Elizabeth Maria Campbell with distinction. And the Perinatal Nursing Specialty, Amy Elizabeth Clausen with distinction. Stacy Joanne Lacerte with distinction. Pediatric Nursing Specialty, Olivia Mary Matthews with distinction. In the Emergency Nursing Specialty and Perinatal Nursing Specialty, Veronica Claudia Papa with distinction. In the Bachelor of Health Science, Magnetic Resonance Imaging, MRI people, Sahiba Kalechalpan. Solmas Karimi with distinction. Now for Diploma in Food Technology, Japni Kaur Bular. Chan Chan Gay. Jason Wong. Avatar Kafle. Rosa Magarejo. Pawandip Kaur Mar with distinction. Jacob William Robertson. Yamima Claudia Winarto with distinction. Nazrin Yazdani. So moving into the Diploma Medical Laboratory Science, Lorraine Abril with distinction. Nimra Azsal. Nicole Agpalo with distinction. Christina Bell. Rosemary Blancoflor with distinction. Trisha Kabiling. Michelle Chow with distinction. Kathy Chan with distinction. Beverly Denau with distinction. Michael Angelo Dantes with distinction. Isabella Cecilia Duncan with distinction. Nicole Lisa Rain Forrest. Charlotte Galbraith with distinction. Sandeep Kaur Gida. Michaela Fulo-Gilas. Leah Hawkins with distinction. Natalie Hoy with distinction. Stephen Hutchins. Jaya Kim with distinction. Kaylee Marie Kavalenko with distinction. Vashti Lamanilao with distinction. Regina Landico. There we go. Angela Leung with distinction. Jonathan Mack with distinction. Ambikur Manan with distinction. Joshintanand. Andrada Pellin with distinction. Tui Pham with distinction. Hunter Reed with distinction. Keisha Sarabia with distinction. Naomi Kimeko Schultz with distinction. Diana Tan with distinction. Morris Tsai. Sharon Se with distinction. Alexandra Wu with distinction. Calvin C. Wenjin Jiang with distinction. Jenna Zhang. And now moving to the Diploma Occupational Health and Safety, Manda Promad Bunji with distinction. Judy Chen with distinction. Andy Ted Chung with distinction. Brittany Marie D'Annunzio with distinction. Michael Fong with distinction. Nathan Kaiser with distinction. Sherman Lau with distinction. Carolyn Lee with distinction. He says, have fun with it. Kane Litviniak. Close? Shane David Magnuson with distinction. Shadi Mapor with distinction. Ricky Manhas with distinction. Russell McIntosh with distinction. Aranjit Singh Moore. Humberto Ramirez with distinction. Ashti Pratan with distinction. Anastasia Rybkova with distinction. Savannah Ray Rutkovsky with distinction. Sean Sekon with distinction. Brandon Smith with distinction. In the Certificate of Occupational Health and Safety, we have Jeff Green with distinction. Judson Matkin with distinction. In the Bachelor of Science, Radiation Therapy, Genevieve Ayukawa with distinction. Helena Carbander with distinction. Jaslyn Chan with distinction. Shirley Chuck with distinction. In the Diploma of Biomedical Engineering, we have Yves Sebastian Gadula Adour with distinction. Nicole Au. Daniel Berner. I love the ones who tell me their name when it might be difficult and it's not. Nicholas Chun Cheng Chu. Nathan Silas Chung. Yasser Dawood. Here is again Peter Enns with distinction. Ace Kimbo Iko Ganatisi. Diem Chai Judy Nak Ko. Tina Hong with distinction. Danny Kang. Yuri Minjung Kim. Allison Joyce Mangaya. Tony Nguyen with distinction. Here we go. Attila Agustin Elisevich. Close? Marcus David Rodriguez. Wilfred Tam with distinction. Andrew Tran. And here she is, Deb Yap Gumepao Yap with distinction. Okay, everyone can take their seats again. Thank you very much. Now, as our students return from their professional photos backstage, I'll remind you that the image previews, along with optional order information, will be emailed and mailed to students within the next week. Now, at this point, we take a little bit of time because the students, of course, are taking their last photos back there. They all have to make their way around to the back and make themselves make their way back to their seating. So we'll give them a little bit of time here. We'll ad-lib. I didn't bring my tap shoes today. You're very fortunate. And I don't have my usual 17-piece big band, so I can't sing for you either. So instead, I'll pass it over to Jennifer Figner, the chair of the Education Council. Could you please come forward and make even more time for us?
You really don't want me to sing either, so I'm not going to do that. Throughout the year, it's the role of BCIT's Education Council to advise our Board of Governors on a variety of educational policies and priorities and programs. So what we do is we review new programs, we review major changes to the programs that already exist, many of those that you are graduating from. We set criteria for awards, some of you would have received yesterday at the awards ceremony, and for academic standing, and most importantly, and most enjoyably, of course, for those exams that you all have the opportunity to write. So what that means is that we're involved in many aspects of the programs that you've completed in order to earn your certificates, diplomas, and degrees here today. But this afternoon, as chair of Education Council, I get to do the fun part. So graduates, I'm going to ask one more time if you would please stand. Everybody stand. There we go. And flip the tassel on your cap to the left-hand side. Ladies and gentlemen, the graduating class of 2019.
Some great cheering sections out there. Okay, you may now be seated. I'd now like to welcome Emil Bosniak, the president of the BCIT Alumni Association, of which each and every one of you are now members. Emil.
So I have a question for everybody now that you've all graduated. The question is, who is the most famous footwear philosopher? And if you don't know, it's Socrates. And maybe you've seen the BCIT socks outside at the student alumni booth. And maybe you want to pick up a pair of socks for $12.99 because it's the hottest commodity out there. Good afternoon, everybody. Feels like yesterday that I was sitting where you are now, eager to take on the world and wondering where my career would lead me. And I have to say, thanks to BCIT, it's been a pretty incredible journey. On behalf of the BCIT Alumni Association, I want to congratulate each and every one of you. Today you are joining the growing family of BCIT alumni, now 185,000 strong. BCIT alumni are everywhere, in every sector, conquering today's complex world. Our alumni are true examples of why BCIT matters. This year, the BCIT Alumni Association is celebrating its 40th anniversary, and we kicked off our year by launching our first international chapter in Hong Kong. There are hundreds of very proud BCIT chapter members living in Hong Kong, and even more in the surrounding region. So now, as a graduate of BCIT, you are a member of the BCIT Alumni Association. And whether you work here in BC, in Hong Kong, or anywhere else in between, we are committed to helping you succeed in your career and stay connected with BCIT. Please stay in touch with the Alumni Association, your fellow alumni, and your instructors. These are the people who can be in your amazing network and support you now and throughout your years. As you cross the stage to receive your credential, I presented each of you with an alumni pin. We hope you wear it with pride and know you will always be part of the BCIT community. And now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you your valedictorian, Anastasia Ryabkova.
Perfect. Welcome, fellow graduates, family, friends, faculty, distinguished guests, and our platform party. I'm thrilled and somewhat terrified to be representing the School of Academic and Computing Studies, sorry I messed that up, and the School of Health Sciences as your class valedictorian. As mentioned earlier, I'm graduating today with a diploma in occupational health and safety. I chose this program not because I'm passionate about hard hats and scent-free work zones. It's because I wanted to help people and make sure they come home to their families healthy and safe. I, like many of you, chose BCIT because I knew it would equip me with the skills to do my job well. Getting into BCIT felt like such a huge accomplishment, but it was also the beginning of a world of change. Big changes in our lives often come in many stages. The first stage is deciding on a goal that you would like to achieve. The next stage is pursuing that goal. The third stage is achieving success or temporarily failing to reach the goal. When you've accomplished a success, there's a moment of pure joy, a moment of pure joy, a feeling that you're wonderful and nothing can stop you. Following this feeling, there's a moment of utter panic. What have I done? I had one of these moments recently when I found out I was selected to be valedictorian. As I happily told my family and friends, self-doubt started to creep in. A whirlpool of what-ifs began to play out in my mind. What if I get up on stage and say excessively? What if I write a terrible speech? And what if everybody thinks it was a mistake selecting me? As I frantically Googled how to write a valedictorian speech, a thought crossed my mind. You've been here before. Because being a BCIT student, I've experienced my fair share of oh no moments, as I'm sure many of you here have as well. Whether it was through my first summer job in my discipline or completing my practicum project, I thought, this is it. This is where I fail. I can't possibly do this. But I did, and so did my classmates. Because BCIT gave us the right technical skills and a supportive atmosphere to grow as individuals. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say it was all sunshine and roses. It wasn't. At times I failed or faced setbacks. But with encouragement from my classmates, teachers, family, and friends, I persisted. And I wouldn't be standing here in front of you today if it wasn't for these amazing people. I'm sure you all know who you are. And while I don't know what the future holds, I believe that everyone could work past their oh no moment and find comfort in the fact that despite the failure and the self-doubt, you are exactly where you need to be, you have the right skills to accomplish the task, and everything is going to be okay as long as you keep trying. So graduates, as we prepare for a world of more responsibilities, like paying full price for a Compass card, I want you to remember to not let the fear of failure control your life. Make bold decisions and be brave. You will be stronger for it. Because after you've worked past your oh no moment, there's a feeling of pride at your accomplishments. So be proud of your certificate, diploma, or degree. You've made it past your BCIT oh no moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Anastasia. The folks who nominated you here for valedictorian had some very nice things to say about you, so you shouldn't have had any self-doubts. And I'd like to share some of them with you and with our audience. As an intramural student staff member at BCIT Recreation Services, Anastasia quickly became a valued member of the team. Through her friendly demeanor, she was able to enhance the BCIT Recreation Services atmosphere for herself and her coworkers and anyone else who came in from the BCIT community. In addition to your upbeat attitude, Anastasia, you were recognized at what a strong and supportive recreational environment meant for the community, and you understood that. Your dedication and your respect for the community involvement throughout recreation was continuously evident. Another nominator describes Anastasia as an excellent student who always strives to do her best, driven in her studies, and yet at the same time is actively involved with BCIT. She's tactful with her words when it comes to resolving conflict. Her approach is positive and considerate. Anastasia, it's clear that you value innovation, excellence, diversity, inclusion, respect, and collaboration. These are values shared across all of the BCIT community. And I just have to add, nothing gives me greater pleasure than see the faces of the family when a valedictorian is delivering their speech. And so it's so nice to see your family so proud of you as well. Congratulations. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Anastasia. Thank you, Kathy. Now it's time to celebrate with our graduates. Before they go, a couple of reminders. Now, Leader Frames is available just outside the hall if you'd like to have your credential professionally framed today. Goldfish photo booth with all their props and everything else is also in the foyer for instant, somewhat funny, somewhat social media sharing worthy photos. And our Tona will be available for studio portraits of graduates and their families located upstairs in room 3040. I also want to remind you that the video of the ceremony will be available online in about a day or two, so you can go to bcit.ca/convocation and you'll be directed from there. Now everyone is invited to join us for refreshments following the ceremony. The reception will be held in the gymnasium across from the auditorium. And graduates, please remember to return to the gowning area to remove your gowns before going to the reception. And please move away from the doors as you leave to avoid congestion. It's amazing how all the family members congregate around the doors and we can't get out. No one gets out. So please spread your love a little farther throughout the foyer and we'll all be able to get out. Thank you to all the volunteers and the staff throughout this auditorium today and out throughout this building for their efforts. And lastly, a note to those who just crossed the stage. You've just completed a chapter of your journey. Congratulations. We hope that BCIT continues to be a part of your future as you grow and develop in your chosen field. I wish you all the very best. Now, our processions will now leave the auditorium. First, the platform party, followed by our faculty, and then our graduates. I ask everyone to now stand and remain standing until our graduates have departed. Thank you very much.
Mama said, don't give up, it's a little complicated, all tied up, no more love, and I'd hate to see you waiting. Had to have high hopes for a living, shooting for the stars when I couldn't make a killing, didn't have a time but I always had a vision, always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living, didn't know how but I always had a feeling I was gonna be that one in a million, always had high hopes. Mama said, something for oddities, stranger cruises, ain't ever wannabes, winning the novelties, don't ever change, we wanted everything, stay up on that rise, stay up on that rise, never come down, oh, stay up on that rise, stay up on that rise, never come down. Mama said, don't give up, it's a little complicated, all tied up,